Okay, hopefully we are live. Not been on for a week. Been away on holiday, went to Spain. Had a nice little break with the family, which was nice. But now back into the grind. So let's just do what I normally like to do, which is just quickly analyse. We're going to get into the kind of ideas and price action shortly, but I just thought I would start by just having a quick recap on what's gone on. So look, obviously we know market structure was bearish right the way back into November after all of the crashes and the FTX and all that kind of nonsense. But then obviously price has been bullish. Now we created that nice change of character there when we broke the previous swing high. Obviously we had to break a structure when we broke the swing low. So theoretically, you know, our swing would have been there, something like that. This range here, but then we broke that. So we're not really going to do the previous swings because we're really only interested in the current swings, right, which is here. So obviously we had this kind of nice price action, and just kind of always what you're looking for is to sense check that you've had the that kind of at least 50% retracement. Now you normally get this about 70% of the time, at least 50%. Now clearly on this swing we got that 70% retracement. Sorry, over 50% retracement. On this swing, which is there, somewhere there roughly, again we got that nice 50% retracement. And then on this last swing, which was here, of course we got a much deeper retracement. Now I want to focus in on this little part here because this is very confusing in my opinion. Only because it's difficult to know, you know, are we changing direction and going bearish? Well, realistically, yes, we've obviously, you know, if we zoom into this area here, what has been predominantly bullish price action. Where's my favourites? There you go. You know, which has been, let me take that magnitude off, it's just a bit annoying. Predominantly up, down, up, you know, printing higher highs and lower lows, etc. Then we go and break this low with this, and so you'd say, okay, well, now we flip bearish, right? So now we're only really looking for retracements and pullbacks to break that move to the downside. Here's where it gets a little bit messy in my opinion, because whilst that's true, you know, time frame dependent, so it's relative to the time frame you're on. So right now we're on the daily time frame, right? That's just a wick, and so technically wicks are just liquidity grabs, right, when we're talking about market structure. And so realistically we can't you know, what you'd argue, why isn't that now the new range? Well, it's not, because it's just a liquidity grab. It's took out the liquidity from the lows there, you know. So this would have been that discount zone, that nice area where you're expecting a deep retracement into some sort of a demand zone that you want to take advantage of, so that you can, you know, get a nice buy at a demand zone, maybe some sort of inefficiency somewhere. But clearly markets don't always do what they want you to do, and so sometimes you've got to just take those kind of moves on the chin. You're not always going to get every single trade right, but obviously with savvy and sound risk management, it's not always the worst. Sometimes you need that smack of reality, just because as traders sometimes we can get overconfident, right? We've got to always try to maintain that common clear thought process, and so that's why the risk management is always key. But anyway, you know, we've had that deep retracement. Then of course what happens is we get that news that the SEC and Grayscale has kind of won that lawsuit against the SEC. That doesn't strictly mean that we've got a spot Bitcoin ETF. It just means that they were credited with what was originally a denial, means that now they have to review it and re-identify where they went wrong, in the anticipation that we could maybe get a spot Bitcoin ETF. Now that would be amazing, and I think that would probably propel things. But that in and amongst the Jolt's job activity as well was what really propelled yesterday's news. And I think there was also some news about Elon Musk's X platform was looking to take some sort of crypto payments, and I know that's being an ongoing saga, but you know, it was still good news, right? So, you know, if we kind of zoom into this zone now, so that's our swing, right? We have the swing high and the swing low, but of course we wicked below that swing low, and so we just, now it's like, okay, let's map our internal points, and the internal points are, well, where's the low? Well, this is the low, and then what broke it? Well, whenever we're talking about market structure, it's always, did we claim liquidity, right? So, like, if you take this candle to the downside, we haven't claimed the liquidity above here, right? And so, you know, each time it's, do you claim that liquidity? If you claim the liquidity, it could be a pullback, could be change of character, could be whatever it needs to be, but you're looking for that kind of liquidity clearance. Now, when we broke down to this low, we claimed the liquidity there, but it's not the highest point of the move, right? So that's the highest point of the move. And so this is the low, this is the high. We didn't claim the liquidity on pretty much any of these. Technically, you could go to there and high, but that's just messy. I wouldn't bother. It's just a pullback. This is just one continuous impulsive move down. And then, of course, you know, we have that move to the upside. So my narrative is bullish. I think the bias is bullish. That's my maintained idea. I think, you know, we shouldn't really be focusing too much on bearish direction until and if, and only if, in my opinion, higher time frames like the 4-hour, daily, so on and so forth, we get a close below here. Anything below 4 hours, I wouldn't really classify as a swing change of structure, or a market structure shift, whatever you want to call it. So, let's zoom in a little bit. I've marked out some of these inefficiencies here. These are the typically supply and demand zones. Well, in these cases, they are supply zones. If we are only getting bearish. Now, because we've already spent a lot of time down here, if I'm honest, I'm only really going to be looking for pullbacks into the zones. So if we're looking for something where we pull back in to go long, because I don't think, in my opinion, we can really focus too much on moves. Now, I already took a small move today, right? I was looking at a TPO platform, and I was also looking at an inefficiency, and I'm just going to show you what I think it was on the 15-minute, right? So what I'd done is I'd mapped out the swing range, but we had, you know, this was a kind of internal range where we were going, you know, we made the high here, and we kind of made that low, high, low. This only becomes a high when we break this, right? So that's technically a high, and then we have that low there. So this is the current swing range right now, as I would call it, the internal swing range. But I was monitoring this fair value gap here, right? So this inefficiency, but it was also a single print, right? And so if I show you on the TPO, you know, we had this was yesterday's TPO here, which is time based, not so much volume based. So how long does price advertise in a specific session? That gives us an indication of how fast price is moving. In reality, what I want to know is if price is moving quickly, they oftentimes can be classified as like trap buyers or trap sellers, because price came into a range, but it quickly got soaked up and eaten up by, whether that's, you know, bigger players, absorption, whatever it would be, but a swift move and momentum. And like, you can almost think of it as like a fair value gap or an imbalance, but in this case it's different. It's not based upon a disproportion between buyers and sellers like an auction. It's more to do with how long time spends in a specific area. So I was looking at this inefficiency here. At the time, price was somewhere around here, kind of moving down. So I'd mapped that out with me just remove the favorite there. I'd map that in this same zone, and so price came down here. I done a market buy somewhere near the bottom of this single print. Realistically, what I should have done, and I never, is went down to the smaller time frame, like the 1 minute, just to wait for a change of character. I was a little bit impulsive, to be honest. It still worked out well because I kind of got out somewhere around here. It was only like a $97 trade. It wasn't massive. It's for the funded challenge that I'm doing. I'm currently doing a 50k challenge. I'm about 2% up, which isn't too bad. I've got to make 10%. But as you can see here, price is starting to swiftly move down. We have some excess here, but it's getting chopped up, and it's just absolutely chopped it up there. Are we going to come into this? These are the single prints here. That again, big fair value gap, call it what you want. But looks like price is just, we've got more single prints now. Price isn't finished yet. So let's see how far down this rabbit hole it wants to go. I think it would be nice if price was to come down to this zone here. Where are we? If price wants to move its way down here, I would certainly be keen, because number one, it would clear out these single prints, which are, effectively the same as fair value gaps, but based upon time, not volume, or not even volume, auction dynamics. And then I would look for a long here. This was a small scalp, which turned out to be a nice little scalp, but I'm waiting for, ideally price to come down to here. I don't know if it will. It may not. But that was the point of control. This was the yesterday, or not yesterday, yeah, yesterday actually. Time spent across the session, the most period of time we spent was here. That move to the upside happened really quickly and swift in comparison to how much time we'd spent down here. So, we need to see exactly what's going to happen. But that was that kind of trade at the moment. Difficult. Sometimes these sessions are a little bit mad to trade because you don't quite know what's going to happen, because we've been in such, if you think about it, look at the volume, look at the sessions, they've been relatively static. This is just one big range until we had that, that was that move down. I think if I put the that was that move down again, huge big amount of excess here. Price starts to skip away from there. We range above it, so all of this, right, is all trapped by trap sellers, people who are trying to short the market continuously, but price literally spent moments down this area. It was down and then reverted back up. So we've got a lot of trap sellers here, and then price teases for such a long time. People desperate to get out of the trades here, and that of course didn't happen, because eventually we had that huge bullish move up. So that's probably liquidated a lot of these original holders who were trying to sell. So now we just see what's going on. Are they going to get a chance to come out? If for those who are still holding on, at least for the smaller leverage traders, where the price is going to continue down. I mean, we've covered maybe a couple of single prints here, but nowhere near enough. I would like to see what the market always likes to fill in single prints, and so it wouldn't surprise me if we do come down here actually for the day. But what day are we on today? It's Wednesday. It's middle of the week, so we shall see. What's price doing on the main candle? This is about that area I would like to see. It would close that gap, and then we'd be back into that kind of range zone that we spoke about. That's that single print that you just seen on TPO on a candle, in its candle format. second. So feel free to ask any questions, by the way. Right now I'm just kind of seeing what's going on. It's difficult to take a trade at the minute. I'm between zones, and so you know at this moment in time, there's the major swing, right? Let me go zoom out a second. Let's get rid of that. There's your major swing, this kind of low here and this high. So, you know, what are we waiting for? Well, really, this discounted zone, which we expect. This is, you know, this is the strong low, and this is the weak high. So we always anticipate the weak high to break, and so right now it's like, well, when's the best time to get in? Well, we simply don't know, do we? We've just got to try to look for those inefficiencies in the market, the supply and demand zones. And let's just see, but like if I look here, I don't really, at least on the 4 hour, I don't see any zones. Maybe the 4 hour, this would be a potential zone here for an active demand, and maybe, you know, price is waiting to come back down here, but this has reminiscence of that kind of where's that phase? Just let me show you what I mean. You see that kind of, this W formation here kind of feels like a mini version of that W formation. Very similar, where it's come down, created a high, come back down, and then, you know, a leg to the upside. That's gone a little bit crazy. So just need to see how things transpire. But right now, I would like price to come back down to that zone, back down into here. Market structure wise, higher high, higher low, higher high. Sorry, that was the higher high, but then we made a lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. And so theoretically you'd expect if this was the internal range, right? So you'd say, okay, well, the internal range now is say here and here. We're in kind of nothing but no man's land, so it's like, it's difficult to trade. I don't like to trade around these zones. I like to kind of come back down into these areas here. I'd like, if price does come back down to here, or even here, you know, this would be a good zone to long from for sure. It would just be strange for the market to just eat up all of that. But you've got to remember, a lot of this, you know, this was based upon news of nothing more than a, you know, Grayscale won a lawsuit. It was no confirmation. It was no confirmation that they'd been granted an ETF. Far from it. And so a lot of this time, it's kind of, you know, by the news, by the rumor, selling news. So once the information comes out, it's like, okay, well, the reality steps in. It's like, is it really that bullish? Well, yeah, of course it's bullish, but it's no guarantee, right? So I think right now you're going to have a lot of the market makers kind of taking back a lot of the value that was presented. So that's why it's difficult to trade right now. It's not an easy trade. It's like, okay, well, price can come back down, but, you know, price can just reverse and keep going back up. We've seen it many times, and so I like to just wait until it comes into a zone where I think is beneficial. So the only real zone I can see, I mean, that's the 4 hour. If we go to the 2 hour, it's no different really. 1 hour, again, with normally when you've got no previous levels here, price could just literally skip down, you know what I mean, because we've got no previous zones of support or resistance. It's right the way down here, so I do think price is probably going to maybe work its way down here, and usually quite quickly as well. 15-minute small support level here, a little bit of liquidity, but if that liquidity goes, then theoretically it's quite low down. And to the 5-minute, yeah, we've got some kind of liquidity here, but the big orders, the big demand will be in this zone here, in my opinion. So let's just see. Anyway, unless there's any questions, I think we shall leave this one here. More than happy to kind of address anything, if anyone has any questions or disagreements or agreements. But with BTC, as I say, I'm currently trading a funded challenge. I'm 2% up net gain at the moment, which is good. In fact, can I log into my account? Oh, I won't be able to show you that on this because OBS is linked to a specific application. But anyway, about 2% up. It's a 10% challenge. I have to, no time limit. It's 50k. I think the maximum drawdown is 6%, but in a day it's no more than 5%. And so you can't draw down more than 6% total or more than 5% in a day. I haven't breached any rules yet. If I'm 2% net gain, so that's not too bad. I've got to get to 55k. I'm about just shy of 51k, so I'm about 2% the way through, which is good. If you want to follow along, of course, feel free to join my Discord server, and I've been posting all of my results and my trades along the way. The actual link should be in the description if anyone wants to join that. Like, subscribe, all that kind of YouTube nonsense is always good for the channel. If you haven't liked, it takes you 2 seconds, doesn't it, fellas? Let's just be honest. But yeah, that's it really. Just kind of seeing how it goes and kind of waiting to see. Really, I should probably chance a short here, but it's a risky move. But it might be one that pays off. But because it's a challenge and I only really want to trade from a sign of strength, not a kind of gambling side, I want to wait until price comes back down because I am bullish, but I just think this is the pullback. But having said that, you know, we had that major leg down there, which, you know, came a lot. This is a nice inefficiency to the top side here, which I'd be liking to eventually aim and target towards. You know, if we do come out down here, that's what I'll be aiming for. But mark my words, let's just say I think price is probably going to come down somewhere into this zone. This is probably where I'd be wanting to long from. Yeah, let's see. Anyway, right, I've waffled on enough.